Hey everybody, Demi here. I know it's been a hot minute since the last time I gave you guys a full-on review, and while I'd love to say that we're looking at Incursus or Devastator or any of the stuff that I was planning to work on, I'm actually in the middle of moving my main setup. So, unfortunately, we are looking at a little bit of a different setup, a little bit less energy going into this editing process, but I still wanted to give you guys something in this little interim period. So, without any further ado, I'm actually going to give a quick review on the most recent figure to enter the collection, Studio Series 73 Soundwave. And we are going to be looking at Core Class Ravage as well, but we're mainly going to be looking at Voyager Class Soundwave. So, Soundwave here is a spitting image from the Bumblebee movie. I love the sculpting detail that went into this design. They very much, I believe they started with the 3D files from the movie to make this figure. And it shows that they did not compromise on the robot. It is a beautiful figure. The legs, the calves actually are like shaped. The posability is amazing. I love in particular these shoulder designs with the sort of slant there, though I am a little upset at the fact that the shoulders are sort of locked in the way they are. They've got a hinge going out and a rotation rather than a ball joint, which is a little rough for posability, but not the worst thing in the world. The head sculpt looks very fun. I do enjoy the painted red visor, but I do kind of wish that it was light piped like this back of the head seems to make me think it was. I'm a little sad that we don't get to see light piping on this guy, but I am holding out hope that maybe, I doubt it, but we could see a Studio Series Sound Blaster repaint from this, which would be kind of fun. Definitely not able to retool this guy to fit 2 in his chest, but still a fun way to look at him. In terms of gimmicks, he's got this little rifle he comes with, which is a very nice, looks like a piece of dark blue plastic, the same as the main mold, but then painted in this sort of gunmetal gray. It is a very glossy finish on it. I do quite enjoy it. He also has a movieverse variation on the classic concussion blaster. The tip of this blaster is from Core Class Ravage. The Voyager version just comes with the cannon, but it's still a very nice cannon. And it has this sort of fun system where it's got a peg on a hinge to tab into the back, or it can fold out a hinge to be held in hand. I prefer the shoulder cannon version, but either one works. And he's got a port on either side for that, as well as ports on the back of his arms. His hands work as ports, 5mm, and there are some screw holes that work as 5mm ports. But other than that, they very much went with more screen accurate than they went for functionality. Size-wise, he's also pretty nice for a Voyager class. If you'll forgive me, I thought it would be funny to go comparing to other Soundwaves, so here's size comparison with the Netflix Soundwave, with the original G1 Soundwave, and he's not going to fit in frame, but Cybertron Soundwave. Not quite as big as the old Voyagers used to be, but compared to like Voyager Soundwave, he's a big boy. He's actually kind of nice. Let me move Soundwave, move G1 Soundwave. And before we get to the transformation sequence, let's go ahead and take a quick peek at Ravage. So Ravage's alt mode, quote unquote, is this sort of brick. Not very interesting, so we're not going to spend too much time talking on it. But after effectively unfolding the whole guy, and I will say, I do quite enjoy the transformation on Ravage for how small he is, particularly this hip joint where the legs need rotated and then the whole hip apparatus kind of locks the tail into place. And those little dings you heard from the table were his sort of side-mounted weaponry falling off. But they are, I believe this is 3mm ports. He's got a port directly on his back, mainly for this little apparatus. The Conch Blaster also has a 3mm port that can tab underneath. But then he's got a 3mm port both on the tail apparatus and on his rear hindquarters. And either one works for storing these little side-mounted weapons. And Core Class Ravage is kind of small, but also very nice. Definitely, I don't think it's in scale with the movie, but with the size morphing that happens there, I'm not too concerned about that. Core Class Ravage is just the size he needs to be, and he looks very nice. He's also got a really nice head sculpt to him. Very much captures that movie design. And I don't want to get all of the Ravages out and available, but if you'll permit me, just a sort of 15-second time stall here as I very quickly transform it off camera with the boop boop a doop and some magic. Let's compare Core Class Ravage to G1 Ravage. This is specifically the Walmart reissue, but size-wise, he's a little bit smaller, but also not too terribly bad. I do enjoy the Core Class Ravage, though definitely I do wish that the two of them together were the Voyager. I feel like it was a little disingenuous to make Ravage a separate core class, but I also understand it from a business standpoint, in theory, why they split it. So, without further ado, I've done enough talking about the robot mode. Let's talk about the mode that really nobody cares about, because you're definitely just storing this guy in robot mode, but it is a transformer, so let's go ahead and show the transformation. This figure definitely prioritizes robot mode, which is exactly what I want from a Bumblebee movie figure. But I will say, despite how it turns into quite literally nothing, I do enjoy the process to get there. Everything has just this fun little... like, the shoulders expand into these back panels that cover the head and make it look a little bit more like something, even though it really is a resounding pile of nothing. But granted, I would have preferred a pile of nothing that turns into a screen-accurate bot over just some complete nonsense. Which I feel like I remember seeing a third-party company, Soundwave, that turned into a very cool-looking, like almost Ironhide-like alt mode. That was pretty fun. But I also enjoy just how simple of a transformation it is to get to this space tank? Question mark? I really don't know what this is supposed to be. The weapons tabbed on it do kind of help, but really it's just... this is not the mode that the figure was made to be in. It's a mode that was added on so that it could say it's a transformer. And I'm not going to complain. Sometimes figures are made for one mode more than the other. And there's really nothing wrong with that, per se. I'm happy we got a Bumblebee movie Soundwave, even if it transforms into this pile of nothing. However, one thing that I do think is kind of interesting, and that I wouldn't mind even seeing somebody try to customize this figure into. The first time I got this in hand and started looking at it, the vehicle mode, the angle of these front flaps immediately made me think of a snowspeeder from Star Wars, and I would not mind seeing Studio Series Soundwave retooled into a Star Wars crossover of a snowspeeder. I think that'd be kind of fun. Would it be the easiest thing to do? No. But it would be a fun little divergence from what we're used to. And certainly, I do think Star Wars Transformers has a bit more merit to it than we got back in the early aughts. So, Studio Series Soundwave. I'll go ahead and put some of the other Soundwaves up next to the vehicle as we do closing thoughts. But this figure is honestly one that I wasn't expecting to pick up, and then when I did, I'm happy I did. Like, Soundwave is not a figure that I ever expected I was going to fall in love with, but this figure is a very nice touch to the Cybertron scenes. While I do wish we could see more of those Cybertronian alt modes actually explored in the movies, that wasn't the point of Bumblebee, and it would have just dragged down the movie. So I'm happy that we're at least getting this sort of what-if look through the Studio Series Cybertron modes. And I'm happy that they really are putting the robot mode first, because they know we've seen the robots, we haven't seen the vehicles, but we know the robots are what we like. So they're not taking any risks by going, here's this character that looks exactly like you expect and turns into a telephone pole or whatever the heck Siege Soundwave, like that space jet, whatever it was. Sorry, excuse me. But they also made it not just a hastily attempt at a Cybertronian microcassette player. Studio Series Soundwave does his job and does it really well. And while I don't think I'm collecting all of... that's just me not posing him right. While I don't think I'm going to be collecting all of the Studio Series Cybertron mode ones, I'm happy I got Soundwave, and Ravage too. They're a nice little 2-pack. So if you can find them, pick them up. They're kind of nice. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. The upcoming reviews are probably not going to happen for a good couple weeks minimum. I've got a lot of stuff on my plate with the semester sort of wrapping up for college. So please hang on. I'll try to do a couple of bite shot mini reviews on the short side. But in terms of full reviews, expect to not see a full review for a couple weeks at least. But I did just get a replacement part for Incursus, so that video is back on track. Hopefully it'll be soon. And other than that, just if you want to follow my socials, they're always on the bottom. But thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye!